Because Quincy's,
Well, hello, Judy.
Lisa, how's it going today?
It is going.
We have sunshine all over us.
You have
I,
sunshine all over you. I just got reflection all over.
you also have a lovely scene in the behind you. It's looking like it must be a good day in Wisconsin.
It is a very good day in Wisconsin. Yes,
Yeah.
it is a beautiful late summer day, uh, bordering on fall. It's going to be fall here pretty soon. But yeah, it's
Hmm.
just there's no wind. It's just calm and it feels like a transition time.
Yep. And it looks like okay, I'm not going to go any further. Okay, because the dog is barking, and I don't want
And we're
if
talking about the weather again.
if you hear a bark, it's my big dog, and she's impossible to keep quiet because she hears us talking to each other.
All good. It's all good. I told my dog to go on, go on. Okay, so Judy, today we are going to talk about all the feels.
All the feels, F E
Yes.
E L S.
Yes.
All
Last
the
time
feels.
we were talking about your thoughts and what are you thinking? And
Uh-huh.
today I thought we would go the next step, you know? So often you probably heard this. You go to any workshop or conference and they want to know what is your why
Uh-huh.
behind what you're doing. I mean, I think that's
Exactly.
something real common that people are exploring. What is your why? If you're trying to do something bigger than yourself, you are not going to be able to accomplish it, apparently, unless you know your why.
Your purpose,
Yeah.
your why. What, that why always threw me, but what's your purpose? What's the feeling that you want to explore by doing X, Y, and
Yes.
Z, right?
And that is what we're going to talk about today because I think when you are a writer or you're seeking to be a writer, I think there might be a common why that we can all really relate with.
Okay. That makes
Okay.
sense. Uh-huh.
So the first, and I want to look at this in terms of three different kinds of writing because we do the three, well, we do the three different kinds of writing. The
Uh-huh.
three different kinds of writing that I want to explore the why in is writing for yourself, writing for like friends and family, and
Mm-hmm.
then writing for the world, the out there writing that you might be doing.
And that could be regional magazines. It could be a book. It could be any form. Could be
Yes.
an article in a journal that you read for work. It could
Mhm.
be any of those, right?
And I think the why that people write is, although it's connected and it gets a little messy, I think we can make some distinctions and really come to some foundational understandings here.
Okay,
Because
sounds good.
I love evaluating what I'm doing and thinking and feeling, and I don't know, it just kind of gives some solidness and some purpose to what's going on here. So
Kind of grounds you a little bit.
yes, I
Yeah.
guess that's what I was really going for. So the first kind of writing is in journal writing or
Hmm.
writing in a diary or all that, the morning pages, anything that you're doing that you don't expect anybody else to see
Hmm.
necessarily.
Hmm. It's for
Um,
your eyes alone.
yes. So I was thinking, why do I want to do that? What is the feeling that I'm after? I'll let you think about that for just a second. When
Hmm.
you write for yourself, WTF? Why? I mean, if I was to tell my kids, it's really important that you write for yourself. As a matter of fact, just a quick little comment here. The other day I talked to Caden, which is my middle child, and he went off to college. And guess what he took with him?
His journal.
He Not his journal. He stole a journal from our house, an empty journal that he found. He thought he told me this. He goes, he told me because he thought I would be proud of him. He goes,
Hmm.
he found it, and it's a plain black journal that he found in a bag. And he goes, his thought was, I could write in this.
Whoa. Step one,
Yes.
step one.
Step one.
Ah.
So what is the step though? What do you think he's going to achieve through writing for himself? Why was I so excited about that?
The thought that I think was that, sometimes especially like Caden's age, you're with your college buddies and you're talking and you're BSing and all that kind of thing. And a lot of schmaltz comes out of your mouth and all of that. However, you don't really have deep conversations about who you are, what you're feeling, where you've been, all those things with those more casual buddies. And that's okay. However, if you are going to start writing in a journal, I think what they'll find, or what Caden will find, is that you start to know more about who you are and what your feelings are about life, about school, about your buddies, kind of thing. And sometimes it clarifies for you like a direction that you want to go, or an event that you want to participate in, or I don't know, to come up with any of those thoughts. But I think it's a whole different thing than the schmaltzy BSing that we do with our friends and buddies. I think it's much more insightful. It has more depth. I go back to this old boring thing. It's a form of meditation. It pulls from within.
And I think I can distill all of those thoughts down into one word, and that would be the word connection. I think what he's going to find, and that and you have found with our personal writing, is that you have a connection with yourself. Until you sit down and you meditate or you journal or you sit with yourself in a quiet space for a significant length of time, you
That can
don't.
be 15 minutes. I mean, it doesn't have to, when you say significant, I think of hours and hours. No, it can be 15 minutes, right?
But I think it has to be regular. I
Yeah.
think, when you say it, 15 minutes here or there, it just popped into my mind an old experience that I had when I did a Boundary Waters experience back in the day, way back in the day. One of the components of that experience, I believe it was for experiences that were like at least a week long. They then took you on your like next to last day for a solo experience. You had to be out in
Oh,
the woods on your own to kind of be with yourself as part of this journey to
wow,
really
that sounds pretty
experience it most
cool.
deeply. And so I
Uh-huh.
think the feeling that you really want to get when you're writing for yourself in, like I said, a journal or a diary, a morning pages, is that connection that so easy, and that still quiet voice, that's within us that is so easily drowned out.
And I don't think that every person would immediately identify with that when it first comes up.
Mm.
However,
Mhm.
I think that if the trust is there and give it a shot, I think there will be surprise in what people learn about themselves.
Mm. Mhm.
I just
Mhm.
can't go far enough with that. It's so interesting how we can seem very superficial and very on the surface, and that's not really who we are. However, if we don't know who we are, how do we present in a way that will let others know who we are?
Yeah, yeah,
I'm
exactly.
not saying let them read your journal, but I'm saying you come at it with a confidence or a consciousness or a
Consciousness. Yep.
knowledge of this is my purpose. This is what I really like to
Believe.
project to others, kind of thing.
This is who I am. This is who, in my deepest core, believe I am. And this is what I stand for. This is what I feel is important. This is
Hmm.
what's happened to me. And this is my journey. And what I've learned from my journey thus far. This is
Hmm.
what I know to be true at this point of where I am.
Hmm.
Right?
And some people say, "Well, I know who I am. That's ridiculous. I don't need to do that." I would
I
like
would
to
beg to
say,
differ.
yes, they do, because I've had the experience of doing it, and we've mentioned this a time or two before. And
Mhm.
later, I'm sitting quietly and I read it and I go, "Wow,
Mm.
I didn't know. Who knew? I didn't know that was coming up for me."
Mhm.
So I learned things I didn't even know I knew.
Who'da thunk, as you said before.
Who'd have thunk? That's kind of one of those phrases.
Okay, so when people are the feeling that they're looking for that we are looking for, I believe, is a feeling of connection with ourself.
Mhm.
And that leads us into the next kind of writing that we do, and we encourage other people to do, and that is legacy writing.
Mhm.
Legacy writing, as kind of a definition, is not writing that you put out into the world, but it's writing that you put down perhaps in a journal or a book that you want to be passed on, that you want friends, family, loved ones, children, grandchildren down the road
Mhm.
to have as a reminder of who you were, what
Mhm.
you stood for, the lessons that you've learned. So we've
Mhm.
talked about that as Sidetrack Sisters. And
Mhm.
I believe that when we talk about writing in terms of legacy, I think the feeling is very similar um, to the writing for ourselves, in that we are once
Mhm.
again seeking to make connection.
Well, it comes up again and again when, somebody, you'll be having a conversation and somebody will say, my favorite aunt was my Aunt Louise. She was just so unique and so different. And I'll say, well, tell me a little about her. Well, I don't really know much about her. How did she look
Yeah.
at the world? Oh, she never really said. I mean, people can have a favorite person, and I think it's just such a compliment to them to get down in writing. Why was she important to you? What was it
Mhm.
that you
And
really
don't you
admired
wish
in
that
her?
she had left something behind to
Mhm.
to provide some depth to that spark?
Exactly. Exactly, because obviously the connection had been made,
Mhm,
and
mhm.
it doesn't
Yeah.
need to be beat to death, but it needs to be
Oh,
articulated.
yeah.
It's part of the memory, and I think it's important for people to take the time to put down the memory, because memories can fade and you can forget and you can maybe never know. But if it's written down, you
Mhm.
can reconnect every time you take a look at that.
Yeah. The word is connection. Yeah, I
Hmm.
think the feeling that people um, will get from legacy writing is connection,
I
and
agree.
that is so wonderful. And I think by not doing legacy writing, we miss out so much on the connection with both the past and the
Hmm.
future. The
Hmm.
the important contribution that we can make to future generations as women
Hmm.
and as people that have lived incredibly vibrant, difficult lives. I mean, I think I would laugh when I say that is because I think everybody talks about, growing up in trauma and, how we have to deal with trauma. And I think, what
Yeah.
family doesn't have trauma? That what family, what people, what person has not grown up and has their shit that they need to deal with? You know what I'm saying?
I do. You hear people say, oh, I came from a very dysfunctional family. Well, what dysfunctioned for you? I mean, and that's a very general term, and what were some of your hardships and what were some of your successes? And how do you feel that that molded you into the person you are? I mean,
Uh,
dysfunctional.
Well, and I
Yeah.
laugh because I just saw a GIF on this the other day, and it was the top one was a teacher or some kind of guru saying kids are so resilient, and then the next one after that was um, everyone should be in therapy. It was like, yeah, pretty much, yeah, kids are resilient, but guess what? You got to deal with that stuff sometime, somewhere along the journey.
And I did therapy for a little while because
Mhm.
I was kind of making a lot of dumb mistakes. And what I found in therapy was that being an extreme extrovert as I am, I was doing things without really reflecting on them and without really giving them the proper
Mm.
attention. And so in therapy, we, I mean, sometimes I would get asked questions and I'd go, I don't know. And they'd say, well, yes, you do. If you don't know, you bring me the person that does know. And we'd work through a series of questions, and eventually I could
Mhm.
kind of get down to the core of what I was feeling. And
Yeah.
I think it's like that when you're writing.
Mhm.
And
Exactly.
I look at it kind of like self therapy, because a lot of the things I write about now are things that come out of a
Yeah.
situation or an experience or a dysfunctional moment, or,
Yep.
something like that.
Well, and I think lots of, I mean, in the coaching that I do, we call it self-coaching, and where you sit down and you do a brain download, and then you
Hmm.
pick one of the thoughts, and then you put that off to the side and you kind of work through it. And it's like, what's going on here?
Hmm.
And really looking at it because I mean, we're getting into that first kind of writing for yourself right here. But
Hmm.
you want to dig into yourself a little bit and you want to explore those thoughts because under the thoughts, those feelings are what really cause us to do what we want. Whether you're buying a car, going on a vacation, beginning or ending or staying in, a relationship,
Hmm.
we do things in our lives because of the feeling that we perceive we are going to be in when we do that
Yeah,
thing
it's
or
kind
receive that
kind of
thing.
the reward, or what will that
Mhm.
mean to me, or yeah,
Yeah.
there's a lot more to that. And I've had um people say to me, well, I'd like to work on our relationship, but he won't do it. You don't need him to do it. You just
It
work on your
only
part of
takes
the
one to work on
relationship.
a relationship. Have you heard that?
I have. I
Mhm,
actually have
mhm,
a couple that I get um, emails from, and they deal with lots of different problems. And
mhm.
their little program the other day made me really laugh. It was because of uh, how people backseat drive, and how that absolutely drives the
Drives
driver
crazy.
crazy. And it was about how this person decided that they were going to handle those situations differently, and how that one person
Mhm,
doing
mhm.
something different was so helpful. And then a piece of that was they explained to the other person what was
What they were
going on
doing.
for them when they were doing those things, so that the other person all of a sudden went, oh, you're not just nagging or ragging on me. You really have a real fear, or you have a real reason, or you have I thought that was really kind of
Hmm,
cool.
hmm. Interesting.
Interesting.
Interesting. Okay. So I think we got sidetracked there a little bit.
We what?
I think we got sidetracked there a little bit.
Okay, probably. Are you really surprised that we would
Not
get
so much.
sidetracked?
Not
No, not so
really.
much.
Mm-mm. Okay, so we're talking about feelings,
Uh-huh.
and so far we've kind of come to the understanding that when you write for both yourself and for loved ones,
Hmm.
we're really looking for connection. We want to
Hmm.
connect with ourselves. We want to connect with more deeply with our loved ones, both current, past, present, and future.
Hmm.
And
Hmm.
then the last kind of writing that I wanted to kind of talk about was what kind of feeling are we looking for when we write for the bigger world? So like the Sidetrack sisters get together and we have a blog. And we have been blogging since 2017, putting our weekly writings out for the world to read.
Hmm.
And I was thinking, what is the feeling that we're looking for there? What what is our goal? What is the feeling that we're hoping to get?
Hmm.
And I think really it's not just connection, though there is power in that feeling connected with people who you'd never dream of being connected with. But
Right.
I also think there's a sense of contribution.
Hmm.
And I was wondering, so is that why, children's book writers and mystery writers and magazine people who publish articles in magazines and online,
Hmm.
I wonder if they're looking for that sense of contribution also.
I think that's definitely a piece of it. And I had a situation. I had a class reunion this weekend.
Mhm.
And it wasn't a big one. It wasn't like a 5-year. It was we'd actually get together, a smaller group every year.
Mhm.
And one of the women said to me, I just have the best time reading what you girls write
Really?
because it takes me back to when we were in school together and feelings I had and things that I did. And there are things that I haven't thought of in years. And reading what you're writing, it puts me right back there. And it
Wow.
really contributes to my feeling good about my school days and stuff like that. I
Huh.
thought, I said, now listen, I've never seen a comment from you. And she said, I know. She said, I just stalk you. I don't comment. And I went, come on, if you're having fun, tell us. But I thought that was
Aw.
so interesting, and she said this in front of a bunch of other people, and, and then several
Mhm.
people asked me about our Facebook page and our blog, and I was dishing out cards to people, so we'll see, and this is someone from
Wow.
California and someone from, St. Louis and someone from out east, and they were from all over the place, so who knows? We might
Very
get some,
cool.
and those are people that are in the bigger world, but they're not
Mhm.
unknown completely. So they can
Mhm.
really
Mhm.
relate because they're from here.
Of course. Yeah. Huh. That's cool. So, wow, you are in enlarging your world reach and contributing to even more people potentially.
Exactly. I just think that we aren't as different one from the other as we really think we are.
Hmm.
So when we speak about our experiences, our reactions to them, and so on,
I'm
people can relate to that. And that is not the dog that's barking, by the way.
she
Abby, what are
thinks
you
she's a
doing?
lapdog.
You have lap dogs and lap cats. I just have barking dogs is all.
No, she slithered very quietly up here.
I saw that. She's a little large for your lap too.
Well, I'm sitting in this papasan chair, so there's
Oh,
room for both of us. But I just like laugh at how carefully she slithered.
she just kind of stepped like
Yeah,
that.
she did. She's like,
Kisses for
okay,
mom. Kisses for
yeah,
mom. Yeah, what
exactly.
a sweetheart.
Uh,
That's so cool.
well, you can't see her on the podcast, but if you want to look at our, we also have a YouTube channel that there have been a few of our guests who have told their people about the YouTube channel, and but most people listen to us in the podcast, not the YouTube channel. But if you want to see my dog and me sitting in the papazon, we're together here,
Uh,
doing this together,
well, I'm
and you can
beginning to
see us
see
there.
some of your stuff on Instagram too.
Yeah, yeah, that's on
Yeah.
Lisa Hoffman Coaching.
It's really
So
fun. I've been enjoying.
cool.
Everywhere I go, there's Lisa Hoffman, Lisa Hoffman, Lisa Hoffman
I'm all
coaching.
over the place.
You're
Ah!
everywhere. You're everywhere.
Cool. So anyway, so I guess really, Judy, what this all boils down to is, I think I've mentioned this before. We have I think this innate, deep desire to be heard and seen by others. We
Mhm.
are not individuals. Whether you're an introvert or an extrovert, I don't think that has anything to do with it. I think we want to feel seen and heard. And we feel that way when we develop and we pursue a sense of connection with
Mhm.
ourselves and our loved ones, and when we put ourselves out and we're making a contribution into the greater world. I think that's all the feels. That's what we're looking for here, and I think that's
I
what that
agree.
you and I are achieving, and we want to encourage other people to pursue as well.
I think you put that together very well. Yeah, I think that contribution, when we tell a story about the way something went in our life, and that story has an idea in it that might work for other people,
Hmm. Hmm.
that's a contribution.
Yeah. Yeah.
Because maybe it's something, oh, I never thought of trying it that way or whatever. And I think the stories are more insightful. What am I trying to
I
say?
think that people can connect with us.
they're more
when,
real or
when you tell the
something.
story. They're able to have a viewpoint into the point that we're trying to make instead
Yeah,
of
I don't think we have to get
preaching at
all
somebody.
preachy
No,
and, like
no.
that. But if you just tell the story and how it went and, make it real
With the
as it
details,
is.
with
Yep,
the details,
with the details. My Lisa's
not
constantly
glossing
saying,
it over. Come on, give me some
add
good
some
juicy details
details.
here. That's
Yeah,
what makes it
exactly.
interesting to read. It's the details. I don't want adjectives. I want details,
Have
right?
we heard that a time or two before, Sidetrack
Maybe
Sisters?
once or twice. Yeah.
Yeah.
So, okay,
Well,
Judy,
good.
with that, we're going to wrap this episode up. I hope all our people get all the feels, and then
Yeah.
we'll see you or hear you or talk to you again next week.
I'm looking forward to it already. I
Okay,
know we'll have a great time.
we will. Okay, talk to you later.
Bye bye.
Bye.